Picture this. You're lying in bed next to someone who used to make your heart race, but now they feel like a complete stranger. The person who once couldn't keep their hands off you now flinches when you reach for them. Sound familiar? If you're feeling that gut-wrenching sensation that something has shifted in your relationship, you're not alone, and more importantly, you're not crazy. Hey everyone, and welcome back. If you've been following along, you know I'm all about giving you the real talk when it comes to relationships. No sugarcoating, no false hope, just honest insights that can actually help you navigate the complex world of modern dating and partnerships. Today, we're diving deep into something that most people are afraid to talk about. Those subtle but devastating changes that happen when your partner starts pulling away. Whether you're 3 weeks into dating someone new or 3 years into a committed relationship, I'm going to walk you through 5 critical warning signs that indicate your relationship might be heading toward dangerous territory. Before we get started, I need to set some realistic expectations here. What I'm about to share with you are patterns and behaviors to be mindful of. They're not absolute proof of anything. Your partner could be displaying some of these signs and still be completely faithful and committed to you. There could be work stress, family issues, health concerns, or a dozen other factors influencing their behavior that have nothing to do with your relationship. My intention with this video isn't to turn you into a detective or make you question every interaction with your partner. The last thing I want is for you to become obsessive or controlling because of something you watched here. Healthy relationships are built on trust, communication, and mutual respect, not surveillance and suspicion. What I do want is to help you recognize when your gut instincts might be trying to tell you something important. Sometimes we ignore red flags because we're afraid of what they might mean, but awareness can be empowering. And here's something I believe deeply. A relationship where you constantly feel the need to question your partner's loyalty isn't a relationship worth staying in. Trust me, I've walked that painful road before, and it's not a journey I'd wish on anyone. So let's get into sign number 1, the affection drought. Let's start with something that hits like a punch to the gut, the sudden disappearance of physical affection. Now, I'm not talking about natural ebbs and flows that happen in every relationship. Life gets stressful, people get tired, and sometimes intimacy takes a backseat temporarily. That's completely normal. What I'm talking about is when someone who used to be naturally affectionate, the person who would grab your hand while walking, kiss you goodbye every morning, or curl up next to you while watching Netflix, suddenly becomes physically distant. This isn't about them being busy or stressed. This is about them actively avoiding your touch or seeming uncomfortable when you initiate physical contact. Here's the harsh reality. When someone stops needing affection from you, it's often because they're getting it elsewhere. And I don't just mean cheating, though that's certainly a possibility. They might be emotionally investing in someone else, developing feelings for a coworker, or simply checking out of the relationship mentally. The key indicator here is the word sudden. If your partner went from being touchy-feely to acting like you have the plague overnight, pay attention. Your body language and physical connection are often the first casualties when someone's heart starts wandering. But here's what makes this even more complicated. Sometimes this withdrawal happens because they're genuinely losing attraction or falling out of love. I know that's terrifying to think about, especially if you're deeply invested in the relationship. But attraction isn't always permanent. And sometimes people change in ways that affect their physical desire for their partner. Sign number 2, communication breakdown. The second major red flag revolves around communication patterns, and this one manifests differently depending on what stage your relationship is in. If you're in the early dating phase, maybe you met on an app, you've been texting for a few weeks, perhaps you've been on a couple of dates, sudden communication changes are massive warning signs. Think about it. If someone went from sending you good morning texts, sharing details about their day, and staying up late talking to you, to giving you one-word responses and taking hours to reply, something has shifted their priorities. In the dating world, this often means they're talking to someone else who has captured their attention. Dating apps have created this culture where people are constantly shopping for the next best thing. And if your conversation flow has dried up, you might be getting replaced in real time. For those in established relationships, the communication red flags look different but are equally concerning. Your partner stops telling you where they're going. They start working late without giving you a heads up. They come home at unusual times without explanation. They become secretive about their plans or vague about their activities. Here's the crucial distinction. I'm not advocating for tracking your partner's every move or demanding a play-by-play of their day. Healthy relationships require trust and independence. But when someone who normally shares their life with you suddenly becomes secretive, that's worth paying attention to. The foundation of any strong relationship is open communication. When that starts crumbling, it usually indicates that something else is cracking too. Sign number 3, the guilt-driven accusations. This one is psychological warfare, and it's absolutely brutal to experience. When someone starts accusing you of things you haven't done, especially infidelity or dishonesty, it's often because they're projecting their own guilt onto you. I learned this lesson the hard way during college. I had a boyfriend who, completely out of nowhere, started accusing me of cheating. He would call me screaming, demanding to know where I was, who I was with, what I was doing. This was coming from someone who had never shown jealous tendencies before, so it was shocking and confusing. I spent weeks walking on eggshells trying to prove my innocence, showing him my phone, giving him detailed accounts of my whereabouts. It was emotionally exhausting and frankly degrading. Months later, I discovered he had been cheating on me during that entire period. This behavior happens because guilt is a powerful emotion. When someone betrays their partner, they often can't handle the psychological weight of what they've done. So instead of facing their actions, they convince themselves that you must be doing the same thing. It's a defense mechanism that allows them to justify their behavior. If your partner suddenly becomes paranoid, accusatory, or suspicious of your activities when you've given them no reason to doubt you, take a step back and consider what might be driving that insecurity. Sign number 4, the social media shift. Social media behavior can be incredibly revealing, especially when it changes dramatically. I want to be clear here. If your partner has always been someone who posts frequently, shares personal photos, or uses social media as a form of self-expression, that's just their personality. You can't suddenly decide you have a problem with that. But if someone who typically keeps a low profile online suddenly starts posting attention-seeking content, that's worth noting. I'm talking about the person who rarely posts pictures of themselves suddenly sharing multiple photos a week, especially ones that are more revealing or provocative than usual. This behavior often stems from a need for external validation. When someone isn't getting the attention or appreciation they want from their current relationship, they might seek it from their online followers. It becomes a way to feel desirable, attractive, and wanted. Sometimes this is innocent. Maybe they're going through a confidence boost, trying a new style, or just feeling good about themselves. But when it's combined with other warning signs, it can indicate that they're seeking attention from someone specific or fishing for compliments from potential romantic interests. The bigger concern is when this behavior represents a complete departure from their normal social media habits. Sudden changes in online behavior often mirror changes in real-life priorities and interests. Sign number 5, phone fortress syndrome. The final warning sign is when your partner becomes overly protective of their digital devices. Now, I want to be very clear about something. I do not advocate for going through your partner's phone. That behavior is toxic and indicates a fundamental lack of trust that probably means the relationship is already over. However, there's a difference between respecting someone's privacy and watching them panic every time you're near their phone. If your partner used to casually leave their phone around, answer texts in front of you, or wouldn't mind if you grabbed it to check the time, but now they guard it like it contains state secrets, that's concerning. The key phrase here is, if you have nothing to hide, there's nothing to be protective about. Someone who is faithful and honest in their relationship won't freak out if you accidentally see a notification or need to use their phone in an emergency. I'm not saying your partner should give you unlimited access to their personal communications. Everyone deserves some privacy. But extreme secrecy, especially when it represents a change from previous behavior, usually indicates that something is being hidden. This might not necessarily be cheating. It could be personal conversations they're having with friends, financial issues they're dealing with, family drama they haven't shared, or even something as simple as planning a surprise for you. But more often than not, dramatic changes in phone behavior signal that something significant is being concealed. If you're watching this and recognizing multiple warning signs in your own relationship, I want you to take a deep breath. First, remember that none of these behaviors definitively prove infidelity or guarantee that your relationship is doomed. People go through phases, deal with stress differently, and sometimes need space to work through personal issues. However, your instincts matter. If something feels off, don't ignore that feeling. The worst thing you can do is pretend everything is fine when you're sensing major changes in your partner's behavior. My advice: have an honest, vulnerable conversation. Approach your partner with curiosity, not accusations. Express how you're feeling and ask if there's something going on that you should know about. Give them the opportunity to explain what's happening before jumping to conclusions. That's everything I wanted to share with you today about recognizing when your relationship might be in trouble. If this video helped you gain some clarity about your situation, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps me reach more people who might need to hear this message. Drop a comment below and let me know, what's the biggest red flag you've experienced in a relationship? I read every single comment and love hearing about your experiences and insights. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.